Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this video is called The Top Accomplishments the New World Order has done to destroy society. Number 1, segregation. These days we're segregated by everything. We're segregated by race, we're segregated by our political beliefs, we're segregated by class, just about everything you can possibly name. Why? Because if that segregation gets removed, we then talk, we then debate, we then find some common ground, and then we unite against the real enemy, which is the governments and the New World Order controlling us. And they can't have that. So they've got to segregate us. I mean, in America in particular, it's ridiculous. You know, I mean, they have, safe spaces and no white stays at universities where no white people can go on campus. It's absolutely, utterly insane. But the New World Order have done this on purpose to keep us separated, to remove the ability of debate, to remove the ability to remove the ability of civility, which they've almost done when you look at the polarising with the politics these days, and just to remove the ability for us to communicate with each other and find common ground. Because if we communicate with each other, as I said, and find common ground, then we realise that this is all being fake, and we discover who the real enemy is. They can't have that, so they keep us segregated, and they keep us hating each other and divided. I hate how it does that all the time. Okay, here's the New World Order Google definition of a participation trophy. A trophy given to children who participate in sporting event but do not finish first, second or third, and so would not normally be eligible for a trophy. It is frequently associated with millennials and others that believe participation trophies can encourage children to work hard. No, they don't encourage children to work hard at all. They reinforce the message that if I lose, or I don't win, or I don't achieve, it doesn't matter anyway, because I'm still going to get rewarded. And then that carries on throughout their whole lives. And if they're used to getting positive reinforcement, no matter how badly they perform, then when they go into the real world and get a real job, and they do a report or something like that, or they perform their job badly and they get criticism, they can't handle it. Thus far, we get a whole generation of emotional cripples. And I'm a physical cripple, and that's hard enough, let alone being an emotional cripple. I know what I'd rather be. I'll take the physical side. That's why there were protests in the street after the communist Jeremy Corbyn lost in the UK, and there were anarchy protests in the streets. That's why college students who had been indoctrinated and been brought up with this everybody gets a prize mentality. When Trump won, they all had therapy puppies and Play-Doh and all this sort of bullshit. It's about creating a generation that can't think for themselves, can't cope with anything, and don't have the ability to create their own destiny, so they have to have someone like the UN or the EU or the New World Order tell them what to do, because they don't have the ability to think for themselves. That's what things like the participation trophy do. Creates a whole generation of zombies and emotional cripples. Sorry, you can go if you want, mate. You can go if you want. It's alright. Yeah. Smartphones. A mobile phone that performs many of the functions of a computer, typically having a touchscreen interface, internet access, and an operating system capable of running and downloading apps. No. My definition of a smartphone, what a smartphone is a vortex that sucks you in, that makes you incapable of doing anything or performing any task without a smartphone, or completely ruins and destroys your communication skills. Now, for example, I'll give you an example. We're in a two-story house, and I live upstairs from my parents. And my mother will occasionally go, why don't you come down for dinner or whatever, or why don't you come down and watch TV with us, or whatever it may be. Have dinner, watch TV, have a talk, whatever. I'll go down. And these are my parents that, well, my mother's in her 60s and her partner's nearly 80, 79. I'll go down there and they'll be looking at their smartphones, they'll have their laptops on their lap, and they'll have their TV on. And I'm like, sometimes I feel, and I'll say it to them, turn your bloody laptop off, turn your phone off. You wanted me to come down here for a visit, so I've come down here for a visit. Turn that shit off, right? Because it's turned a whole generation of people into zombies that don't have the ability to talk and don't have the ability to communicate at all. Because you see people down the street, and they run into each other. You almost end up with bad accidents because they're staring down at their goddamn smartphones and they're not even looking where they're going. It's crazy. It's absolutely, utterly crazy. Let alone the spy network they're putting in place while you're using these things. It's insane, utterly insane. Yeah, in my opinion, smartphones are honestly and truly one of the worst inventions in the history of the world, because it's seriously just turned people into hive mind style robots that that can't function without their smartphones. It's turned them into cyborgs, really, honestly. It's really, really bad. Social media. Websites and applications that enable users to create and share content to participate in a social setting. No, it enables you to get into groups with more like-minded people of yours, another form of segregation. And you don't learn civility, you don't learn debate, you don't learn social discourse. Plus, when you what the goal of the New World Order was, by the use of social media, things like Twitter and DARPA book, was to get everyone on and hooked on these things, one, so they can collect all their data, and two, to get everyone hooked on these things so they and get all their information digital, so if they don't like what you're doing and what you're saying, they can just completely wipe you off. But that's irregardless. Social media is really unsocial media. Because what's the world now since social media has happened? It's not, let's go to the pub and have a beer, or come over to my house and have a cup of coffee, or, you know, let's go out in the nature, let's go out hiking, let's go out and have a picnic or whatever. It's inbox me, or contact me on Facebook, or message me on Twitter, or whatever. It's it's a form of, again, separating humans from other humans and isolating you, which is again one of the major goals of the New World Order, which they've sadly done a pretty good job of achieving. Yes, without social media, I would not have met, you know, um, great friends like Polly and other people, and yeah, there are some benefits because you connect with um, like-minded and beautiful people all over the world. But if I was to weigh it up, the negatives of social media, in my opinion, and what it's done to society, far outweighs the benefits. Because, I mean, for example, Twitter. Most of the people that dominate Twitter these days, in the old days, would be put into a mental asylum, and they're driving the politics these days, and that's a result of social media. Because normal people that would normally write off these people that say, you know, men aren't men and women aren't women, and, you know, all that sort of bullshit. You could shrug them off these days, but with social in the old days, and say you're an idiot. But with social media and with these morons being given a platform, it's harder to do. And that's one of the worst things that's happened. this video is getting too long, so I'll wrap it up. But lastly, United Nations, this is their definition, commonly referred to by the initials UN, is an international non-profit organisation. Ha ha ha. International Human Trafficking Organisation, founded in 1945 to increase political and economic cooperation among its member countries. Yeah, right. It's an organisation formed to destroy national sovereignty by incremental means. It's an international organisation that was the inventor of all the, well, not the inventor, but the catalyst to put through everything that's destroyed society, the race baiting, the segregation, the transgender movement, the feminist movement, everything that you can possibly think of, the anti-white racism, everything that you can possibly think of that destroyed the civility of the society is the UN. And I will not be happy, no matter what happens. I will not be happy until the day comes that the UN is completely destroyed. The UN was the first step, well, not the first step, but one of the major steps to completing the world government project, where there is no national sovereignty anymore. Countries are divided into sectors, which are controlled by the UN. The UN is by far probably the biggest and most evil accomplishment that was completed by the New World Order. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is all.